Hi all! Everything in my video is pulled from the public domain, and I am using them under the Fair Use, Fair Dealings guidelines. Everything I say is my own opinion. You should look into this information for yourselves, but I'm pretty sure I'm right. Good morning, everybody. All right, I have to talk to you guys really quick before we start. There is an issue with YouTube. YouTube is working on the issue that I'm having with them, but until they solve the issue, I cannot put up my usual one video a day with 16, 18 minutes long. Unfortunately, I'm going to have to break them down into individual 8-minute long, 9-minute long videos. So instead of getting one video a day and just watching it, you're going to have to click on 2 or 3 videos a day just until YouTube fixes the problem, okay? So this is part 1, and with this we're going to cover King Charles, and we're going to start off with the rebranding that's going on with WME. So let's go. So we're going to start off. I want to say a big thank you to my subscriber Tina, who sent me an article from the Woman's Day magazine that was put out on Monday, August 1st, because there was 2 pages of information about Prince Harry. I have to tell you guys, it was interesting. How many times have I told you they're going to wheel out the kids if it helps them? This article says that he's hoping to bring Archie with him, because he wants to show his kids the continent that's been so special to him. They're saying that he might be in touch with Chelsea while he's there because she has a company that's focused on travel in Africa. All right, moving on. All right, so we're going to start off with King Charles. It was raining, and yet he went out to open a new distillery in Scotland. It's called the 8 Doors Distillery in Wick. I'm not even going to try for the rest of the pronunciation. And of course, he was in a kilt. You guys know how I'm loving that kilt. It was green. He looked lovely. So he got out of the car in the rain with the umbrella, and he was greeted by the owners of this distillery, Kerry and Derek Campbell. This particular distillery, just as an FYI, has been producing Scotch whiskey since 1837. Now, of course, as is standard procedure when you arrive anywhere as the king, you are taken on a tour. So he went around and he got to review the cask. They call them casks that have the whiskey with some members of the staff. Pretty cool. This place, according to the article, has repurposed all of the stainless steel vessels that they use during production from other sites, and anything that's a waste from the process is collected and turned into biogas for reuse at a local anaerobic digestion plant. I think that's pretty cool, especially since we know how Prince Charles feels about protecting the environment. Pretty cool. So after he did that, he looked at one of the casks. He tapped a barrel, which is pretty cool. And then, of course, he was taken inside to see a selection of the different whiskeys that are produced on site. It's amazing that, from what I can see from the picture, it looks like they make 4 different whiskeys, but that may just be some of the whiskeys. And of course, in order to be a good host, he had to sip some. I don't blame him at all. I would have done the exact same thing. Okay, no, I take it back. I hate alcohol. I really don't like it, but okay, good for Charles. Now, while he was there, of course, after he was done sampling, King Charles was able to meet people that work in the retail area, their distillation team, people who work in-house, everybody. He even met, as you can see above, I think that's fist bumping. He's fist bumping one of the food producers who works in the local community there, which I think is very nice. He, of course, did the obligatory signing of the book, and, then he headed outside. Now, upon walking out of the distillery, there were local school children that were waiting to meet him. I don't know if they let these kids out of school. Well, wait, it's summer, right? They're out of school. Okay, I was going to say, do they pull these kids out of school? Because there always seems to be a lot of children around whenever Charles goes on one of these, tours. Anyway, he met a lot of the public. This very nice woman decided she was going to curtsy to him in front of the cameras. Good for her with everything going on over there. People trying to get rid of the monarchy. You show them, girl. That's a hell of a good curtsy, too. Anyway, Charles waved, got in the car, and it was time to go home. And I've told you guys before, I like these visits that he does. I do. I think it boosts morale. People like to see him out and about. And I think it gives a big boost to the people who do the jobs. You know what I'm saying? Pretty cool. All right, let's move on now. All right, before we move on to our big topics of the day, we're coming back on this Suits article because the articles are coming out saying that the show Suits is like trending on Netflix. It's #1. It's the best. She starred in it. Okay, that's not true. As Mystified on Twitter pointed out, she was never the star. It was never, and it's not, the #1 streaming service on Netflix. This is the same thing that happened when she did Spotify. And Spotify said the broadcast was #1. It wasn't. She never beat Joe Rogan. They put out this propaganda because they're so trying to push. But the truth is, she was not the star of Netflix. She was a nobody on Netflix or on Suits. She was like, 5 or 6 in the call lineup. But these stories are coming out now, including the one of the Beckhams. Everybody's drudging up old stuff because this is part of the rebranding. This is where we're going. They want you to believe that Suits is making a huge comeback because, Megan was in it. It's not true. But believe it or not, that's why they brought up this whole thing of what happened with the Beckhams. They're trudging up old stories, WME is. This is all part of the rebranding, as you're about to see. But before we cover that, I want to bring up one more thing. Robin Lynn King found another lie in the spare. Good for you, girl. This is what Harry wrote. It's a little blurry, so let me help you out. He wrote, quote, Pa and William could never be on the same flight together because there must be no chance of the first and second in line to the throne being wiped out. But no one gave a damn who I traveled with. The spare could always be spared. I knew this. I knew my place. And with that, a picture of King Charles coming off a plane with Prince William, who was 2 months old, surfaced. And here is Prince Charles coming off the plane with Prince William in 1983. And here is Charles coming off the plane with Prince William in 1984. Need I say more? When I tell you that Harry's memory is selective, buddy, it is selective. All right, you guys. So this is the end of video 1 for the rebranding, part 1 for the rebranding. As I said, as soon as YouTube figures out how they're going to fix this problem, we'll go back to just 1 video. Unfortunately, until then, there's going to have to be all released on the same time. So I apologize. Let's just roll with it. Hopefully they'll get their stuff together and we'll move on, okay? Let's move on to rebranding part 2.